Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you for stopping by and watching the videos today. Wanted to talk about something that I get a lot of questions, in fact, I would say the vast majority of the people that send me emails, this is kind of the topic. And it's about the Ozarks of here where I live and where we live, our homestead. And I've lived in the Ozarks most of my life. Since I was a small child, my family, a lot of my family is, from the Ozarks. So I do know a lot about it, and I love it. I love the Ozarks. So I've never been shy about talking about the Ozarks. So of course I get a lot of people asking. And so I wanted to talk about it a little bit today and why I think it's special. Maybe to kind of clarify some things, answer some questions, and address the fellow Ozarkians that sometimes don't like me talking about the Ozarks. And it's legitimate. They're afraid that if I talk it up too much, it's just going to cause more people to move here and have more population here, because it's, most of the Ozarks is fairly, sparsely populated. And so they don't want me giving out all of our awesome secrets about the Ozarks. So let me first address that. The Ozarks isn't a secret. In fact, there is what I understand, I've never watched it, but I believe there's a fairly popular TV show on Netflix called The Ozarks. It's in a lot of movies and TV shows. And amongst the prepping and homesteading communities, if you go down any message boards or groups or anything, at some point the Ozarks is going to come up in discussion. So within those communities, the Ozarks is well known, and is well known as a place for homesteaders and preppers and things like that. So I'm not really telling any secret. Secondly, people are going to move here regardless. I'm not saying that people are moving to the Ozarks, excuse me, in large quantities, putting our populations up in the areas of other parts of the country, but people are going to move here. There is property for sale all over the Ozarks at any given time, and that property is going to be purchased by someone. And there's pretty good odds that at least a certain percentage of those properties that are being sold will be purchased by people moving here from out of state, or at least out of the area. So my opinion is, why not try to encourage like-minded people to move to the Ozarks? I mean, there's already people here from big cities and out west and up in the Northeast that are moving to the Ozarks all the time. So why not try to get as many, like-minded people to move here? And that way, at least the people that are moving here and buying up these properties are folks that are at least think like us. So I don't think it's a bad thing to talk about it, and when contacted by someone from out of state, encourage them and explain to them, where to look and how to buy land, or at least, some good areas to look at. So please, let's not try to beat me up too much for talking about how amazing the Ozarks is. So that being said, now for those of you that may be interested in the Ozarks and why we're so special. Number one, the Ozarks is not perfect. There's certainly bad people here. There's certainly crime here. It's just like anywhere else in the world. I had a person email me recently and said that they were considering looking to the Ozarks to homestead, but some people that they know said, "Hey, we've been to the Ozarks. We lived there for a while, and it's an awful place. High crime everywhere. People hate you and all this kind of stuff." And I responded. He said, "Is that true?" So I sent him an email back, and I'm like, "Well, I don't really know where they live or where they did live in the Ozarks, but in general, the Ozarks does not have high crime. People are not horrible, and they don't hate outsiders. Those are general terms. Certainly, Are there little pockets of area that may have higher crimes than others? Sure. Nowhere near the numbers of bigger cities, but compared to the rest of the Ozarks, there may be little pockets that would have a higher crime rate. There are certainly people here that don't like anyone. They like to live here because they don't want to be around anyone. They don't like outsiders, and they don't like just people in general. Are there people here that are racist? Certainly, but there are everywhere. That's just something you're going to have to deal with wherever you go. Those types of people live everywhere. The Ozarks is not some utopia that is just magical and wonderful. It's not that, and nowhere is. I've had people ask. I've had people email me and they say, we're black or we're Hispanic, but we're homesteaders, we're preppers. We don't fit in where we live. We want to come there, but we've heard that, man, people there are really racist and they hate you because of your skin color. Are there racists here? Certainly there's racists here. But are there racists everywhere? Absolutely. You could move to the most liberal, tolerant city in the United States, and you're going to find racists there that hate you. Let me give you an example of some friends of ours that live not too far from us, and they are not just black, but they're from California. So you'd say, well, they're from this liberal California country, state, and they're also black. They would probably be hated in the Ozarks, and it's not true at all. Actually, not that long ago, I was talking to them about their experience of moving here, and they said that most of their family lives in either California, Chicago, or the Baltimore area. And they've been trying to get them to move here, and their family all tells them, you guys are crazy for living there. There's just a bunch of, white supremacist, racist people that live in the Ozarks. How do aren't you afraid that they're going to be lynched and all this? And they told me, they said, we feel safer here than any big city we've ever been in, and certainly in California. She said, we've run into less people that are racist or that treat us differently because we're black and not white here in the Ozarks than we ever did when we lived in liberal, California. And they absolutely love living here, and they're homesteaders. And there's numerous people that I have met and know that are not white, and they live here and they love it. And certainly I'm sure they run into the occasional person that may say something or look at them differently or whatever, but you're going to find that everywhere. The big thing with that whole thing of the Ozarks, they don't like outsiders, and they don't like people moving here from outside the Ozarks, or they don't like people that are brown or people that are black or whatever it is. That's not actually true from my experience. What I have experienced, and from the many people that I've talked to about this, so far 100% of everyone I've talked to about my little theory agrees. It's not that they don't like it that you're from California or that you're black or brown or whatever your skin color is. They don't like people coming here and bringing with them their big city liberal ways of thinking. If you want to move to the Ozarks to live like people do in the Ozarks and behave and act and enjoy this slower paced life where the cars move a little slower, where people are friendly, where things are more laid back, where people are okay with you just living on your land how you see fit and not bothering each other and not trying to pass some new laws. Well, we had this in California to keep people from leaving trash on their lawn, and so I want to pass that law here now that I'm in Missouri because we don't have that, so I'm going to become active in my community to try to pass that. You do stuff like that, yeah, probably people aren't going to like you. If you're bringing with you the political and cultural ways of liberal big cities and states into the Ozarks, then you're probably not going to get accepted. But if you come here, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your beliefs, regardless of where you're from, and just want to kind of be that Ozarkian person like everyone else is, and just kind of find your own little piece of paradise to live on, you want to come here to Homestead or to Prep, and maybe you're from California and you're black like my friends. They came here and they just fit in because they don't want to be that liberal left mindset. That's why they left that area. And so they fit in well. And it really doesn't matter skin color. If you're white and you come from New York City and you come down here and you're wanting to try to impose that New York City mindset and beliefs and political system and laws and ordinances on your little town or your little county that you live in here in the Ozarks, you're probably not going to make a lot of friends. So that's really where it is. The Ozarks, though, is really, I think, one of the best places. People here complain all the time about the weather. Everyone in the Ozarks complains about the weather, that you can't plan anything because it changes from minute to minute, and there's a lot of truth to that. One of the reasons is geographically the Ozarks is almost dead center in the United States, so we get weather patterns from all over. They kind of merge right on top of us, so you never know. But overall, compared to the rest of the country, we have a fairly mild climate here. It gets good and warm in the summertime, but certainly not like it would be down south in Texas, Arizona, or hot and humid like it is down in Georgia and Louisiana. But it does get warm and humid, just not that bad. And we have days, you may have a week or two of really hot, humid weather, and then it cools down just a little bit before it gets hot again. It kind of does this roller coaster. In the wintertime, it's the same way. We can have really cold temperatures in the wintertime. Not quite as cold as North Dakota or Minnesota, but certainly cold. And then it'll bounce back up for a few days and be mildly warm for a winter day or winter week, and then it may get cold again. So it's enough that you can taste it, but not so much that it smothers you. And I like that about the Ozarks. It's not perfect, but we like it that way. It's a lot of water here. A lot of rain. Our annual rainfall is pretty good. Most of the Ozarks is around 45 inches a year, which is really good. There's a lot of water underground. It makes most of the Ozarks is quite fertile because there's just about anywhere you want to dig a well, you're going to hit water. And a lot of the country's not like that. You know, these people that homestead, I see people that homestead like down in Arizona, New Mexico, and West Texas, and there's certainly a beauty to it, and you can find cheap land in some of those places. But, you know, it's kind of a hit or miss if you're lucky enough to find water on your property or hit water on your property. And here, you start digging and you're pretty much going to hit water. The wildlife, just the whole ecosystem here is very diverse and it's very lush. I mean, here we are in August, and we didn't have hardly any rain for about 6 weeks, almost 2 months, and you can see, now it has rained a little in the last few days, but you can see how green it is behind me. And when those people around here talks about it drying up and getting crunchy, it's still quite green compared to other parts of the country. So I think it's good for that. The Ozarks, the people here, to me, that's really where it is. It's beautiful country. It really is. It's magnificent. And while it's different and not quite as majestic as the Rockies or the Appalachians, I would certainly put the Ozark Mountains up in comparison to that level of beauty, because there are some places that's absolutely beautiful here. But it's really the people. The people here, overall, are really good people. There are bad apples. There are mean people. There are hateful and bigoted people. And there's trashy people. And there's people that make drugs. And there's people that do drugs. And there's people that are just not very nice. Just like there are everywhere else in the world. But in general, the people here in the Ozarks are really good people. And they'll go out of their way for you. They understand out here in the country what a neighbor is. And while they don't bug you and they're not up in your business, if you knock on their door and say, I'm sorry to bother you, but my truck broke down. Is there any way you can kind of help me? Even if you don't know them, they're probably going to do it. That's just how it is. People still say yes ma'am and yes sir. They open doors for each other. They help each other out. They stand and talk for a while. They take their time. So if you live a life that you're in this hustle bustle race all the time, and you come here and that's what you're expecting to see, you're going to be disappointed. Because people around here, they live at a whole different pace than they do anywhere else in the country. And I like that. People around here, you can trust them a lot more. There's so many more people that when they give you their word, they mean it. Like it is a contract. You're going to find a lot more like-minded people around here. I've been getting a lot, since I've done this channel, like I said, that's been the most of the contacts that I've been getting, is people wanting to know about the Ozarks because they're looking for a place to live, to homestead. But here lately, the vast majority of them have been from California. And there's a lot going on in California, obviously politically, the wildfires. There's a lot of suspicion and a lot of speculation and talk and whispers about a possible asteroid strike there. So there's a lot of people that's wanting to get out of California and the whole West Coast because of, while there is certainly a lot of beauty along the West Coast, it's disgusting when you look at the political system and the government and how the people have just become out there, and they're wanting to get away from it. If you're wanting to homeschool, you're wanting to build your own little house, you're wanting to grow your own food, collect rainwater, do solar power, whatever, you can do that all here. You like guns? We like guns in the Ozarks. You see people all the time carrying open carry, concealed carry, because you can do either of those. We're a Constitution state, Constitution carry, which means you don't need a permit. As long as you can legally own that handgun, you can carry it concealed or open. And there are only a very few places around that have a little sign that say, we don't want you carrying here. Just about anywhere you go, at least around here, you're seeing people carry. The people here are much more religious. So if you are a very religious person, you're going to find a lot more kindred spirits here. You're going to find a lot more traditional upbringing, traditional mentality here. I believe overall it is a wonderful place. Without going into a lot of great detail, because I'm running out of time, there is a long belief dating back all the way to the Native Americans that used to live here before white man came, that there is something special about the Ozarks. Many of the Native American tribes, I've done research, believed that large portions of the Ozarks was, holy ground, special, magical places is what they believed. During the 70s, after the big hippie movement, a lot of the back-to-earthers chose to come to the Ozarks because they believed it was special. I even read an article, although I've never found the actual study, but I read an article that back in the late 70s, early 80s, a scientist came here and apparently he was testing just the Ozarks. He'd heard it was so different here, and he claimed, I don't know how you believe about this, and I don't know that I believe it, I'm just telling you the article that I read, so it could be a bunch of baloney. He claimed that the Ozarks vibrated at a different frequency than the rest of the world. I don't know. There's also a lot of Christian people, Torah observant people that live here now and that are wanting to move here, that claim that they're just being called to move here. They truly believe it. Corrie ten Boom, the famous person during the Holocaust, that her family helped save a lot of Jews from the Holocaust. She even said that there was something really special about the Ozarks in a book that she wrote once. So the Ozarks is really special. And last thing I want to say, if you look at all the potential major natural disasters that could toss us back into the Stone Age, while you're not going to be protected from everything here, if you look at them and add them all up, we have a pretty good chance of faring fairly well here in the Ozarks from most of them. So, I hope that's answered some questions. I get these questions almost every day, and sometimes multiple times a day, of just what about the Ozarks and should we move there to Homestead? Go ahead and keep sending them to me. I'll answer in the best way I can, but I was hoping a video like this might answer some more of your questions. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.